Hey, happy Friday, LifeWave family all over the world. We're so excited to come be with you guys again today and just to share a little bit more about the updates of what's happening here at LifeWave. And so we just want to, first of all, start this call off with a great deal of gratitude and tell each and every one of you how much we love and appreciate you. We're so grateful for what you do each and every day as you go out and represent this incredible brand and this lifestyle that we like to call LifeWave. Now, as we talk about this moving forward, we want to come to you in the spirit of partnership, transparency, because we really do believe here at LifeWave that we are creating a legacy. The work that we do together will create an opportunity, not just for us, but for our children, our grandchildren, and our grandchildren's grandchildren. That's the vision of David Schmidt as we take this company moving forward and creating a legacy company. And as we drive to a global billion-dollar business, we know that the only way that we can do that is with life-changing products. Check, we have that. With inspirational and talented and incredible leadership. Check, we have that. In David Schmidt and the incredible team, we've got Jim Caldwell and Emily Hollingshead and the rest of the executive team. And Jim and Emily are here today to share with you, which is awesome, right? And then we also have that leadership with you, with each and every one of you. So that is a perfect recipe. Check. The next thing is sustainability and innovation. And that's really what we're coming here to talk to you about today. One thing that we know is change is inevitable. It's going to happen no matter what. But the one thing that we focus on here at LifeWave is that we plan to improve consistently. And that's really what we're going to get into today. So we come to you both in the spirit of gratitude and partnership today. And as we jump into what we're talking about today, you've seen the emails, you've heard the phone calls, you're seeing a little bit more. We're going to dive into to talk a little bit more about what we're doing as an organization to truly protect this company moving forward. Now, the one thing as we jump into this, I want to highlight two main facts. Number one, we are not changing any percentages of payouts with the compensation plan. You have to understand that David Schmidt is a man of integrity, and he wants to make sure that the payout that we have is exactly what he committed to. The 60% of BV is something that is going and will continue to pay out. The second point is the changes that we are proposing affects very little amount of people. Like, it's a small percentage of people. And guess what? We're working with those individuals to make sure. So this is going to be a smooth transition as we move into it. But this change is necessary to truly protect the company moving forward. And the other great and wonderful thing about this is that we have so many wonderful things in store to truly help catapult this business to be the global brand that we all know that it can be. So we're thankful for you. We're excited. Change is inevitable, but improvement is consistent with LifeWave. So Emily, without further ado, let's jump into the slides so we can talk a little bit more and jump into the detail about what we're talking about. So the LifeWave compensation plan adjustments that we're talking about, again, no change to the percentage. Next slide, please. Is what are the changes that are needed, right? We need to strengthen the binary for long-term growth. Remember, this long-term growth is for all of us. We want to align with industry best practices. This industry of direct sales has been around for over 120 years. We want to make sure that we're taking best practices to make sure that LifeWave will be around for 120 more years, right? And then we also want to minimize the need for the compensation cap. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you have been affected by the cap that's been happening on a weekly basis. And we're going to talk about why that happens. Next slide, please. So what is the binary payout cap? LifeWave's compensation plan is a generous 60%. Think about that. For every dollar of business volume that comes into the company, The company takes 60% of that and pays it back to you, the distributors. That is generous. That is our partnership. That is our commitment to you. That will never change. This means that each commission week, the total binary commissions and matching bonuses, so binary commissions and matching bonuses, is capped at a dollar amount equal to 60% of the BV for the commissions for that week. Again, no change. We're just explaining what this is. The cap applies to the binary commissions and matching bonuses only. It does not apply to any of the other bonuses. Example, the PIBs, the promotional payouts, retail profits. Now, I want to point out that this is something unique and awesome with our compensation plan. The first 4 binary commissions are exempt from the payout cap. So pretty cool, right? So when somebody joins, those first 4 weeks of the business, there's no cap payout, the cap on the payout, which is awesome. Next slide, please. So how is the binary cap calculated? Again, it's math, right? So for every dollar of business volume that comes in, there's a calculation of 60% for the week as compared to the total calculated binary cycle and matching bonuses for the week. If the total commissions exceed that 60% of BV, then all commissions are reduced by that percentage over the 60%. Now, again, let's talk about that. The 60% is the distributors. The 40% comes to the company, which we use to run the overhead, to do product development. I was talking, we had the privilege of talking to David yesterday, and he just come out of this lab and was so excited because he just got test results from this product that's probably like 3-4 years out, but the results were far better than what he had actually anticipated going into it, right? Those cost money, the labs, all of those things. So we have to protect that 40% that comes to the company. And again, that's the reason for the cap. So if the total commissions exceed that 60%, then all commissions are reduced by the percentage over to equal that 60%. Again, protecting, this is the partnership, right? Next slide, please. So how are the commissions displayed? Through each week, the back office display will provide an estimate on weekly earnings based on structure and volume enrollments and retail purchases. When commissions are calculated, if a cap needs to be applied, the estimated display will be adjusted to show for the cap. Again, this is something that's there, and we're working on this. So what has been happening for the last 12 plus months? The BV payout ratio has exceeded that 60% allowable payout consistently, right? So we adjust that to be able to protect that 60%. But here's something else, and David Schmidt will never admit this, but I think it's highly important that we point it out, that even that we've been exceeding the cap, David has been reaching into his pockets and even putting money in because he hasn't wanted to hurt anybody. And that says a lot about this man's character, that he's in this business for the right reasons. He's not in it for the money. He's in it to change lives, which I know all of us are as well. Next slide, please. So what are we working towards? We want to eliminate the need to apply the payout cap, right? We want to make sure that we adjust things and put things in place to secure all of our future. So I believe in this next slide, I get the privilege of introducing, I believe, right, Emily, if you go to the next slide, I get the introducing of bringing on the man, the myth, the legend himself, Jim Caldwell. Absolutely love and adore this man. He has so much passion, so much knowledge for this business, and he truly does care for each and every one of you. And the beautiful thing about Jim, not only is he our chief marketing officer, but he has a lot of institutional knowledge about this and is able to bring that here with us as we get to this point where we make these critical decisions. So Jim, my friend, take it away.
Thanks, Ryan. And folks, if this is the first time you've had a chance to listen to Ryan, see him in action, we're so excited that he's joined our company just in the last 4 or 5 weeks. And so he's hit the ground sprinting, running fast as we're all moving forward with some adjustments and some changes that we know are going to be critical. Because you think about where was this company when we first started, 15, 16 years ago? It was a relatively small company. It wasn't doing 200, 220, $250 million a year. It was in the 20, 30, 35, maybe 42, 45 million is the biggest that it was, as it kind of moved along at a wonderful pace. And then along comes X39, and along comes infrastructure build, and along comes building up the staff so that we could support the growth. And it's been like this ever since. And so there's this thing called, maturity of the binary system, and having to make adjustments so that we get positioned to build to $1 billion together. When you get bigger, you got to make sure that the foundational strength of the binary plan is correct. And that's why, we wanted to review industry best practices. We wanted to make sure, as we made these couple of incremental adjustments to the compensation plan, that we were aligning ourselves with the biggest and the brightest and the best, right? And in fact, internally, we talked to ourselves, and we kicked it around and said, can we think of one large company that uses a binary plan, and top 10, top 15, top 20 company in network marketing? Is there anyone who doesn't regulate and flush volume? Certainly legacy volume. People look at us and say, now, wait a second, you've been letting 15, 16-year-old volume stay in the system? Wow. Gee, who does that? Almost nobody. So that was one thing we looked at and said, okay, yeah, looks like we might want to make an adjustment again to be able to deal with the fact that we are, and we're continuing to become a much bigger company than we used to be. And so we did want to align ourselves with best practices. We do want to be doing what the other strong, companies that are here for the long term and have been here 20, 30, 40 years are doing. And of course, we had the discussions with leadership, all four corners of the globe. It was important for us to get the input from everyone that is in a leadership position. And I'm sure many of you right now are, and it's critical that we wanted to get some input. Of course, we had to, because as Ryan said, this is a partnership. It is, we are nothing without you. And frankly, you need us to give you the support and the tools and the ability to grow and be better. I always say faster, better, more effectively, more efficiently, easier. That's our job. So we've had the conversation, and, you have to remember, it's impossible to please everybody all the time. There's no question. There has been some pushback on this, no question, okay? But there's also been a terrific volume of individuals coming forward and say, this is a good idea. Gosh, this seems to be merit-based. Those that are working, hey, move up in rank, make more money. It's kind of logical. This is how life works, actually, right? As you grow and you gain additional abilities, you move up in your knowledge and what you're able to do, and you earn more money. And that's generally what this is all about. And so we had the conversations, and we knew that as we were transparent, as we made sure to hear the pros and the cons, we made a decision to move forward to do this. Look, if you look at other companies, again, and we talked about, they're flushing volume. Now, do they do it exactly the same way we're doing it? Well, some come close, others are different, but everybody that's around for the long term is dealing with carryover volume, is dealing with legacy volume in a similar way that we are here, that we're talking about. And of course, we had to do the data analysis. Goodness gracious, we couldn't just say, hey, let's go flip a switch and do this. Often people say, well, gosh, just do this and it'll be great. Well, to do something, you've got to test it. It takes weeks and sometimes months, believe it or not, because it's not the only thing we're doing, right? There's many things going on at the same time at this company, as you can appreciate. So we made sure that the data indicated that this would have a measurable, definable impact on mitigating, reducing the need for using the cap. And that was critical for us. And one of the interesting facts that came out through our analysis was the fact that the average number of cycles per paid as rank, right? For most, let's think about the average number of cycles per paid as rank didn't come close to this cap, right? Is underneath it. So this gets back to what Ryan said when he says this doesn't affect as many people as you think it might, because so many people aren't even coming close to hitting the maximum payout per rank. And that's a critical thing we looked at to make sure that this was fair, that this was reasonable. And this is what we did arrive at. And, as you go to the next slide, Emily, I think another fact you have to realize, and Ryan touched on this a little bit, and that is we have perhaps one of the most, if not the most, generous compensation plan in the business. And here's what I mean by that. See that number there, 54%? That's of gross revenue. It's not, 36% or 34% or 40%. Nope. We're paying out in the neighborhood these days of around 54% of gross revenue coming into the company is going back out to you in the field. Now think about that. Commissions, of course, but then incentives, they cost money. Promotions, those times when we give a pretty decent discount on product, or we create some incentive programs, that is lowering our profit margins, but it gives you an opportunity to pick up product at a lower price and to take advantage of ways to earn more money yourself. And that's the company putting more money into your pocket in that manner. And then, of course, cap protection. Ryan talked about it. Ever since COVID became a reality for us, gosh, about a year ago. Remember the Helping Hands program? Remember when we started to see what we could do to help those that were, in the lower income ranks and could use a bit of a boost? Well, we decided let's try to help out. And so we've sustained that program. And as you've noticed on a weekly basis, if we've had to apply the cap, quite often, David's been he's been okay with, protecting those at below $2,000, below $1,000 in earnings on a weekly basis. So you add all those things together and our payout is in the neighborhood on average of 54% of gross revenue. Here's the point. That is so generous. Even when the cap is applied, okay, it's an incredibly generous program. And that's something you need to be aware of. So many of the large binaries out there are in the 30, 32, 37, 38% of payouts. So just be aware of that. David, long ago, he could have taken this technology, right? And he could have sold it to somebody. He had the studies, he had the backup. He was able to, David is the consummate salesperson, right? He knows how to represent this technology. He could have sold it off. He could have used a different distribution model, but he learned early on that networking and network marketing was a perfect fit for this technology, as people tell people, just like you're doing every day today. And so, this network marketing model for LifeWave has proven to be fantastic. And so David loves to pay the money. He loves commission day. He loves seeing that money go out because he knows that means you're getting the cash, you're getting the money to be paid to be our advertising conduit, right? To tell others about our product. And that's what we need. We need you. So I guess the bottom line on what I've been talking about is just be aware that we took a measured, analytical approach, looking at best practices, knowing that we already have a very high level of compensation going out to the field. And this is all about adjusting around the edges to get us to shore up our foundation for the future as we indeed do build to $1 billion together. And so, Emily, let's turn it to you and let's get into some of the specifics. Let's make sure we're clear as a bell about what we're talking about here as we make these two specific actions. Emily, take it away. By the way, folks, let me talk about Emily for a second. Okay. I know a lot of you have met her. A lot of you have had conversations with her, and she is the standard. She is the gold standard for what a person who is a director of sales is involved in sales, supporting and working with the field. She is as good as it gets. So anytime you have an opportunity to spend time with Emily, do it, because she is a walking fund of incredibly valuable information to help you work and be better and achieve more in the field. So Emily, we love you. And so go do your thing. And we look forward to hearing you explain some of the details of what we're doing here.
Oh, thanks, Jim. I know many of you have met Jim as well, and he is such a dynamo guy. He is so fun to work with. And now having Ryan on the team too, I've got these two amazing individuals that I get to partner with every day as we work towards improving and partnering better with each of you. And it is my pleasure and it's a privilege for me to work with each of you at LifeWave and to be able to be a part of what we're creating. So I'm really looking forward to talking to you today about this specific solution and something that we feel will really help us to be a strong partner for the future as we look to grow this company to $1 billion, as Jim is saying, and as we really ensure that we have a legacy that you can pass on from generation to generation. We know that this company has that potential, and that's where we're going. And so it's our part, it's our responsibility to ensure that we keep that opportunity secure, safe, and we are strong partners to you in the field. Like Jim was saying, David has chosen network marketing as a channel to be able to share this technology with the world. And we really believe in the power of what network marketing is. And we believe in you and partnering with you to create this special situation that we have, this special family, this beautiful culture, this lifestyle it's honestly a privilege, and it's been very fun for me so far. So let's talk about this. I know you're all eager to hear some of the details around this solution that we are sharing with you today. So just as a reminder, all of these shifts, these adjustments will go into place on April 12th. So we have about 30 days until that goes live officially. So we will have continued education meetings like this. All of our compensation plan documentation has been updated and is uploaded into the back office in the resource section, and all the other places that we have those documents located through our website, through our success library. This is a great place where you can learn and dive into some of the nitty-gritty details. But hopefully today, as we talk through the specifics, you will come away with a little bit more comfort in understanding exactly how this solution impacts you. And like Jim and Ryan were saying, this is an important thing for the overall company health. But when we really look at the numbers, it doesn't really impact a huge amount of people. Now, that's not to minimize those that are impacted by this. We know this is something that will take an adjustment for some, and this is something that is a change. And so we are working with individuals who fall into that category on a case-by-case basis through the next 30 days, so that once this is implemented, everyone knows exactly what's happening, how their lives will be changed by this. And again, this allows us to be a stronger partner and ensure that we have that runway and the stability to get where we want to go, where we know this company will go. So the two pieces are two new rules that we're talking about here. Number one is the volume maturity rule. And then the next one is the flushing rule. And I know that word sounds a little scary, so don't worry. I know it's a scary word, but we'll talk about exactly what that means so that you can, again, feel confident going forward that, oh, okay, this isn't as bad as I was initially thinking. This is actually not bad at all. There's a lot of benefits here and a lot of incentive along the way. Okay, so let's talk about the volume maturity rule. This really applies first and foremost to legacy volume. And then as volume ages and matures, there are some shifts in how that volume looks and how that is processed through commissions. So LifeWave will protect your unused volume for 1 year on both your power and profit legs. So you have a lot of time to build up that security in your account. You have a long time to make sure that you're building out both of your legs so you can cycle and earn commissions on that volume. Now, volume that is older than 52 weeks will not roll forward. The 53rd week will drop off each commission period on a continuous and rolling basis. So that's what will start happening as of April 12th. Now, you see from this last point here, any volume right now, as of today, and on April 12th, that is over 52 weeks old, will be removed upon implementation. But after that, it's just going to be little bits each week, right? Now, I've had some questions from some leaders and some members that have shared with me their thoughts around this and wanted some clarification. Now, what volume cycles first? If my volume will be removed as it ages, as it matures, how do I know what's happening? How do I how do I make sure that I'm earning as many commissions as I can with that volume? So there's an accounting term, first in, first out. And that applies to this volume maturity rule. And it applies to how our commissions are calculated. So the volume that comes in first is what is cycled with first. So you don't have to be super concerned with that. That's the way that the computer calculates it. So that's something that you would probably want to understand, that the older the volume is, the sooner that it does cycle. So those are some specifics on how this works with the volume maturity rule. Now, we're going to move on to the flushing rule. But before we do that, I wanted to share this image with you as a reminder for how much money everyone can earn based on their paid as rank. So I know that you're all familiar with this concept, but just for a visual reference, based on your paid as rank, you do have weekly binary commission maximum payouts. And something to consider and something to be aware of is these payouts are high, right? These maximums are high. They're done that way intentionally. We wanted people to have the space to be able to earn great incomes within the structure that they've developed within their organization, within their team. And so there is space for you to really be able to max out each of these paid as ranks as you continue to develop and mature your organization. So take a look at this visual. Based on whatever paid as rank you are at, that is determining what is the maximum amount you can be paid per week. I mean, I don't know about you, but some of these amounts are pretty good. And even as a manager, $1,500 a week maximum payout, that's a great income, and certainly something that I know that many of you are working towards. So keep this in mind as we talk about this next component and this next adjustment to the plan. So this flushing rule. As you advance in rank, your earning potential increases. You just saw that in the visual. So your potential gets bigger and bigger the more that you grow your team. Now, your weekly binary commissions, as you know, are calculated using a 2-to-1 ratio, or a 660 to 330 BV ratio. And maximum payouts are established based on the paid as rank, like we just discussed. So those are two components to be aware of when we're looking at how this works, right? So now one thing that we'll talk about in a second has to do with a term that many of you may not be fully familiar with, and it's cyclable volume. And so we're going to start using that term because especially when it comes to this component of the plan, that's really important to understand. Now, cyclable volume means volume that meets this 2-to-1 ratio, right? So if something has the right structure, has the right ratio, meaning if I had no limits whatsoever, it would result in a commission, right? So any commissions would be associated with this ratio. So I just want to introduce that term right now. We'll come back to it in a second. So again, binary commissions are calculated using that 2-to-1 ratio and also applying those maximum payouts based on paid as rank. Now, for managers and above going forward, okay, excess cyclable volume will not roll forward and will flush. Okay. Now I know you're saying, okay, well, what does that mean? And again, remember what I was saying about cyclable volume. It has to meet that ratio. Not all the volume that's in your account will meet that. And if it doesn't meet that, then it's not part of this rule. But again, we'll get into some examples because I know this is a new concept and maybe a little bit, it's hard to wrap the brain around, right? So as you move up in your paid as rank, you will have access to more and more of that cyclable volume and earn more at your newly achieved rank. So as I talked about before, as you grow your group, as you move up in paid as rank, your earning potential increases and you will be able to have access and cycle more of that volume. Now, something to consider as well, enrollment titles and paid as managers will be excluded from this flushing rule for the first 52 weeks from enrollment date. We know when someone is new to the business, they're still establishing what's happening, building in stability, building in consistency to how the volume comes through your group, what you're doing, and how you're growing your business. And so we wanted to provide a little bit of flexibility in that space. So as you're getting going, you don't have to worry about this particular piece or think about it, I guess is a better word. Now let's jump into a couple of examples. Hopefully this will give you a little bit more clarity as to a few different scenarios and how this flushing rule works. So for this example, I am a paid as manager, and the most that I can cycle each week as a paid as manager is 30 times, which results in up to $1,500, right? At the $50 per cycle payout. So I have 10,260 BV on my profit leg, and I have 21,460 BV on my power leg. Now that equals 31 cycles, which is 1,550. Now you can see $50 in cycle bonus is above the allowable amount as a paid as manager, right? So all the cyclable volume, which if you look at the numbers here, they're not a match for all my volume. My cyclable volume, meaning it's met that ratio, is 10,230 on the profit and 20,460 on the power leg. This will be paid out or removed from my account, flushed at the end of the week. And I will receive $1,500 in commissions, and I will retain 30 BV in my profit leg and 1,000 BV in my power leg. That will carry forward. So again, the only volume that's going to be not carried forward is cyclable volume, either because it's maxed out and or I'm paid a healthy commission. So let's do another example. This one has to do with the director. So I'm a paid as director, and the most that I can cycle in a week is 50 times or $2,500. I have 19,800 BV on my profit leg, and I have 49,600 BV on my power leg. That equals 60 cycles or $3,000. Now, again, when we compare, that's $500 in cycle bonus above the allowable amount as a director. Now, all that cyclable volume will be removed and or paid out, right? So in this case, 19,800 in my profit leg and 39,600 in my power leg. It again will be paid out and removed from my account. But I receive a $2,500 in commissions and I retain 10,000 BV on my power leg. It will carry forward. So again, I want to really bring emphasis and understanding to this. Not all the volume in your account, in your legs, will be not carried forward. Some will, right? As long as it's not over 52 weeks old, it will continue forward. It's just the volume that would have been cycled and paid out if you had had a higher rank, like we were talking about. As you increase in your rank, you have access to the commissions that would be earned for the volume that meets that ratio. So like Jim was saying too, and I believe Ryan said this as well, most of our members are not reaching that maximum amount per rank. Most don't, right? And again, that was done intentionally so. But this is the thing. You're going to be earning the commissions on the volume that you have coming through your account, right? So it's very rare that you will be in a situation where that volume will flush and you won't have been paid the commissions because of a limit based on your paid as rank. So again, you have the opportunity to earn more as you increase in your business, as you grow your team, as you go forward with your rank advancements. This is a great opportunity for you to maximize and really earn more and more. It also incentivizes your team to do the same. It's always good for us to have a carrot that we're working towards. It's always good for us to have something that we're aiming at, because that helps us to be excited. It helps us with our goal setting. We talk about that a lot, goal setting, and how important it is having a very specific goal that we know can result in a better lifestyle, a better life, more freedom is always great. Okay, so I have this last example, and this one is important because this particular example, it's an enrollment title, meaning this individual is not, or me, let's pretend it's me, I have not yet received the rank of manager. I have not achieved it yet. So in this scenario, I'm a gold enrollment title, right? And as an enrollment title, meaning I haven't yet achieved a rank, the most I can cycle each week is 2 times or $100 in binary commissions or cycle bonus. So in this situation, I have 1,320 BV on my profit leg, and I have 2,600 BV on my power leg, which would result in 4 cycles or $200. Now, $100 in cycle bonuses is above the allowable amount as a gold enrollment title. Now, all my cyclable volume, which is 1,320 BV and 2,640 BV on my power leg, it will be paid out or carried forward at the end of the week. Now, again, remember, enrollment titles and paid as managers are excluded from this rule, especially the managers for the first 52 weeks, right? This first year. So this is an important piece to understand, right? Because of this title, because they're within that first 52 weeks, this is what happens. Their volume will carry forward. So like I said, this individual, myself as a gold enrollment title, I will receive $100 in commissions and 660 BV in my profit leg, and 1,220 BV in my power leg will carry forward. Okay, so there's a couple different ways, and these 3 examples, I hope, make it a little bit easier to understand what's actually happening when it comes to this new adjustment to the plan, right? We know it'll take some time to understand this fully. And like I said, we've updated all of our resources, and you can go in and dig in and look at some of the examples. You can look at some of the descriptions of how this works, and hopefully it'll help you feel more confident. You can also reach out to our customer service team. They've all been trained on these adjustments and can answer your questions. But I also encourage you to talk to your team. Talk to those who have brought you into this business, who have shared this opportunity with you. Talk about it together. Talk through different scenarios and try to really make sure that you feel that you understand exactly what this means for your checks and what this means for you as you encourage those on your team to advance so they have greater earning potential as well. Now, those are the examples I had and the specifics I want to share. I'd like to turn it back over to Ryan so he can share a few thoughts as we close this today. You there, Ryan?
Yes, great job, Emily. Thank you so much for all that you do for the company. And thank you for those examples that made it so much easier for me. Hopefully it made it easier for each and every one of you as well. And Jim, as always, rock star status. So thank you so much for that. In closing, I just want you guys to be as excited as we are about the fact that we are making strides to protect the company, to help move the company forward, to secure your business, your future, your legacy. In closing, I want you all to know that each and every day we understand as you go out and represent this incredible company, that not only are you putting your hopes, your dreams, your passion on the line, but you're also putting your reputation on the line. And we hold that very sacred. We understand that this is a partnership and that we have to do everything that we can to help you succeed so that the company can succeed. And when the company succeeds, we all succeed. And so I hope you understand how much we value you, how much we love you, how much we know how hard you all are working, and that all of our success up to this point is because of each and every one of you. We love you. We are grateful for all that you do. And like Emily said, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. We want to make sure that we get these addressed. We want to make sure that we get these questions answered. And we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to move forward and build that legacy company that we all know. So good luck. We love you. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.